Good morning, mate.
Insiders.
Mate, my favourite part of the show today was when you reminded Barry that he spent a period of time within the cloistered halls of Parliament, and he seemed to want to end the discussion about goings on behind the scenes in Parliament. Was there? Do you remember when was he in that an insider role in Parliament?
Barry worked for Bob Hawke in the Hawke government as press secretary for a large part of that period.
Yeah,
I worked for John Howard as opposition leader for a part of that period. So we both had our time in Parliament House in the 80s, and I also worked in the mid-70s in the Fraser government as for the minister, for a minister. So yes, I remember the days from the 70s, and I remember it's still possible to remember the days from the 70s and the 80s. It is possible.
Is there anything that comes to mind, sort of a salacious or an interesting episode that perhaps didn't hit the headlines?
I don't think I'll give you an exclusive.
Okay, all right, okay.
I shouldn't give that.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't talking to Barry in particular.
No, I know.
And of course, the other point is a lot of politicians had affairs with journalists. I mean, no one talks about that.
Absolutely. Mate, I was intrigued. I did find...
You're missing out on an exclusive with Mr. Kenny here.
I did find the media watchdog. See
it is up, yeah.
But the date was wrong. It was shown as the 9th. And I just bypassed it. But I was intrigued at your mention of Mr. Borenstein on Q&A.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I saw he was going to be on, I thought, oh, great, I'll come down. And I thought he might be at the recital centre or somewhere. Yeah. They must have been at Dockland, so I missed out seeing him.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. There was discussion about the treatment of women in the workplace, and I wanted to ask him about. I went to a court case back in 2012. A Fiona Brown, I think, was a partner with Maurice Blackburn Cashman, and she sued them for bullying and harassment after she returned to work following maternity leave. And I spent a day in court hearing a senior Maurice Blackburn person being asked about his knowledge of publications on the treatment of harassing and bullying. And he said, time after time, no, I have no recollection of seeing that report. I have no recollection of seeing the other. So I got a good laugh out of seeing the tables turned on Maurice Blackburn.
Well, yeah, I mean, some legal firms, some trade unions, of course, have got pretty bad records, being trade union officials as well. So, yeah, it was interesting to see Mr. Bornstein up there. I mean, also, it was only last year he said there was no freedom of speech in Australia, and yet he's never shut up since.
Mate, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the publicity about the Barnaby Joyce matter. I think most Australians probably think, look, let's get on with more serious things. And after all, Parliament is full of people who have got issues in their past. We've got an alternate Prime Minister who had to, 8 years late, disclose a $40,000 campaign contribution from when he first went into Parliament. There was an allegation about his behaviour in a young Labor camp some years ago. And we've got a senior politician who's married to a convicted heroin trafficker. So I don't think the general standard of discourse in Parliament is all that flash.
I think the problem for Mr. Joyce was that he was the leader of a socially conservative party, and I think there was possibly a compromise. I think if he'd stepped down as deputy leader, stayed in the cabinet or in the ministry, stayed in Parliament, he could have made a comeback. But I think it's probably gone beyond that now. But I don't think it's... I think it's something that probably could have been arranged, but it's hard to be leader of the National Party with this kind of controversy going on. But he may survive, who knows. But we will see.
Last thing, mate.
Yeah.
You remember a couple of months ago the ABC published a cache of secret cabinet documents,
yes.
And at the time they encouraged people in the community to provide leaks to the ABC.
Yes.
And this morning, while I was waiting to talk to people as they were arriving, a bloke actually came and delivered a leak right behind that ABC sign there.
He wasn't a staff.
No. I reported it to security, and the guy came out and had a word with him, but apparently he didn't understand the nuance.
See you, South Bank correspondent.
See you, mate.